and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Sarah, my pronouns are she, her, and this is a channel about the cross-stitch projects I'm working on and the cross-stitch patterns that I design. You can find me at ModCross on Instagram and Etsy. Links to all the places that we can connect and all the people and things I talk about today will be in the description box below. Today is Tuesday, August 29th, 2023. This is Flosstube number 8, and I'm back. I'm back, and there's been stitching, which is very exciting. If you were here in the middle of July for my last video, there's not been a lot of stitching outside of model stitching, and luckily there has been some of that continuing, but also between things slowing down a little bit on the farm before speeding up again. As anyone knows, August gets a little crazy, but it's been better, and there's been a lot of personal stitching and a retreat that just filled my heart with joy and some amazing Stitchy Kindness, and it's been a really good 6 weeks or so, and I cannot wait to talk about it and show you all the things. So I'm going to start with a shout out to everyone doing the hashtag #LetUsShineSal. That's a stitch along with my pansy bloom pattern that was started by Miriam at Murumi Crafts and Nithya at Daybreak Stitchery. Decided to stitch my pansy pattern, and it makes me feel so good. And I really appreciate it. And a shout out to Julie and Stitches, and Allie from Cozy Cabin Stitching, Allie Peterson Designs, and Charlie from CharlyFeathers, Stitching with Charlie Feathers on YouTube, for joining in and sharing your progress. Miriam, of course, is already done because she is speedy. Said if I get the next one done in that series, I might have Miriam stitch the model, because you will get the pattern a lot faster if I do it that way. But just getting to see the different fabrics that they choose and a couple color conversions, it's so fun to see something that I've created go out there and have people make it their own and have people add poetry to it. And, you know, really designs are starting points. They're guidelines. They're, they can be exactly reproduced, or you can make them their own. And that's where all of us become artists as we stitch. And so shout out to everyone doing the Let Us Shine Sal. It is not too late. You can always join in and give it a start, and make sure to tag me and use the hashtag on Instagram so that I can see your work, because it's the best. It's the best part. It really is. So that is my shout out for today. I don't have any fully finished objects. I don't have any finishes, but I have a page finish, and it's a big one. It is my first ever Long Dog Samplers page finish. This is Opening Gambit by Long Dog Samplers. This was my birthday start in February of 2022, and I got a page done. It's okay, we're fine. I started in the upper right-hand corner, and I had the Your Move on the hot air balloon done before I kind of picked it up for this page finish push. And so now the page ends about here. I didn't get to the basket, so that's on the following page. And it comes over here and it cuts off that poor donkey right at its neck. So it was probably almost half the page that I did, because now it looks like this. It's so good. It was so much fun. It was kind of, I wouldn't say an accident, it was fortuitous, because I was going to get my car serviced, and I expected to have to take my toddler with me. And that means no stitching is happening. It just means you're trying to keep a kid sane in a waiting room for an hour or so. And my husband just happened to be in that day. I don't know if it was too hot or if there was a lull in chores. And he said, well, you go by yourself. I can watch her. You go. And I was like, Long Dog, you're coming with me. And so I sat in the waiting room for a little over an hour and made really good progress on the lower part of the balloon. And I thought, you know, I think I can get a page finish on this. And so I kept it out and kept plugging away just when I could. I finally added in the back stitching, so the little antennas on the butterflies. And of course the spider really came to life because it was just 2 stitches out there in the middle before that. So the receptionist at the car place was very impressed. So I'll take it. This is on 36 count shark fin by Fortnight Fabrics. It's got these beautiful blue kind of modeling undertones on the gray. And the floss is the purple segments of PR 124 from Silks For You. It's a purple to turquoise variegated, and I'm just using the purpley dark sections. So the idea was to have something that looked black and white, but then when you got closer, you realized it was a dark purple and a kind of a bluey gray. So that's opening Gambit. I'm really tempted to keep going, but there's also whips that have not been touched yet this year, and now that we're definitely in the second half of the year and hopefully stitching time will be picking up again for me, I really want to make sure I touch those things before I do another whip parade, before the year turns, etc. So this might be it for opening Gambit for this year, but I feel really good getting to a page finish. I think I knew this before, but it really solidified that I get very motivated by page finishes. And next year I'm going to turn 40. I'm actually really excited about it. I'm really excited about turning 40. And I've been trying to think of if I want kind of a goal for the year or, you know, a stitchy thing with 40. I do not want to start 40 new things. I'm not sure if I could finish 40 things, but I'm thinking maybe 40 page finishes. And that could be, you know, a small ornament bottle. That's 1 page. That could count as a page. And then, you know, the pages on the big full coverages, a page on a long dog, things like that. So I'm thinking 40 pages for 40, but I'm not sure. Still mulling it over. But that one felt really good. So as far as whips, I did get one of my full coverage pieces back out, which felt really good. So I got out Peacock, and this is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Elizabeth Welker. This was my New Year's start for this year. My sister gave me the gigantic piece of fabric. So I was able to start it, and I did a lower right hand corner start. And this is where she is. So I've continued to come up here, and now this is where the purple ovals are going to come in. So really it's just this dark spot left to fill in with DMC 310 and 939. The arch is going to go up a little bit farther, and then I've started to fill in some of the lighter purples, which makes me very happy, of course. So I got maybe 100 stitches in July, but the majority has been in August. So since my last time working on this, which is probably April, I've put in 842 stitches. So for my 1,000 stitches a month goal for August, just one more good day of stitching. It might happen while this is uploading, and I will have reached a monthly goal for the first time since April. So that's exciting. So this is now at 4,396 stitches in out of 360,000, but it's at 1.22%. So every stitch counts. This is the page break on the side. There's about 30 more stitches to the top of the page. So that's Peacock. It's so fun. It's so satisfying, especially when you get kind of a, you know, a spot where there's a natural kind of line and you can get the fill in and have that sense of achievement. So this is on 18 count gray Aida, using the called for DMC, and I do 2 strands full cross on the full coverage. And the long dog was 2 strands on 36 count. 2 strands on 18 and 36 are really my sweet spot. Okay, we've successfully found the Bluey episode that was specifically requested, and hopefully the 3-year-old will be occupied for a little while. So that was the full coverage update. I had one more work in progress, or WIP, that I worked on, and that was Gathering Berries by Luminous Fiber Arts. And I started this on the first day of summer, and so I've got probably about another month on it until the official first day of autumn hits, and we'll see how far I can get. Again, this was a top right start, and I got a full bird in. This was another one that I had kind of an unexpected day or two of stitching time in late July, early August. And so I was able to really put in some good work on it. So one thing, well, first I'll do this is on 36 count swank linen by Fortnight Fabrics, using the called for belle soie in cranberry. Again, 2 strands, full cross over 2. So one thing that Misty does for the Gathering series is every pattern has a place for buttons, and I'm stitching, I intend to put buttons on each of them. She's printed the pattern inside twice, one showing where to put the buttons and one version without the buttons, in case that's not your thing, or you just wanted a stitched piece. And so I was stitching off of the non-button side of the pattern, but didn't realize it. And so I stitched, these are repeated up here on the non-button side of the pattern, if that makes sense. And so I didn't realize it until I must have closed it up to take a picture of the cover for an Instagram post maybe. And I was like, oh, there's supposed to be buttons up there. But I have a big jar of antique white buttons that I was just hoping to grab from when I finished these. And I'm not sure I could find 5 that were all the same anyway. And it would really bother me if they didn't match it within the same piece. And so I think I will still stitch these big flowers intending to put buttons in them, and then just leave that as the stitches that are in there. And I think that'll be just fine. I think that's great. So good to have options, but it also pays to double check, you know? So that is Gathering Berries. And then when autumn comes around, I have not finished gathering acorns. So when the first day of autumn officially rolls around, we will get back to this one. So I'm looking forward to that. And then for winter, that's the one I actually finished, Gathering Snowflakes, and so I'll get to start a new one. So it's exciting. So I had 3 whips, but I also have 2 big new starts. And it was going to be 3. I was finally getting stitching time back, and I was getting really antsy because I had a couple things kitted up that I really wanted to start. And I tend to be pretty good about just working on what I have, but when the start all the things mode comes, it really comes. And so I was just going to give in. I was just going to start all the things. And the first one I started was Jade Vine from Carolyn Manning. This is part of the Shooting Star collection. Dear Sweet Nithya from Daybreak gave me the pattern and the floss for this. And she actually came through and visited. She visited my hometown at the end of July. Her partner Steve rode on Ragbri, which is the Register's annual great bike ride across Iowa, Ragbri. And it was the 50th year, and thousands, like 10,000 bicyclists ride from the Missouri River along the western edge of Iowa and go to the Mississippi River on the east in a week. So it's a lot of time on a bike, and it is always miserably hot. And it was, again, miserably hot. I felt so bad for both of them. But to get to the start point, to the western side of Iowa, they drove right close to where I was. And so we were able to meet in town, and I took her to Criss Stitchery, which is my local needlework shop, and Steve entertained himself, and so I was able to get the fabric to go with this. So then later in the week, as they got to the eastern side of Iowa and close to the finish, she was able to meet up with my parents and my sister and her family and visit with them. And I was so jealous because I really wanted to be a part of that gathering and to see them again and see my family. And the timing just didn't work because my husband's family was gathering for a reunion that weekend, and we had a farmer's market we had to do. And so I wasn't able to be there. And so I was getting all chippy about missing out on the fun. And so I was like, well, fine, I'm going to start Jade Vine instead. So I started it that Friday of Ragbri and worked on it all week after that. So the week after that, my parents took my two daughters. And so I had more stitching time than usual. And so this is where we are at now. I've been participating in the hashtag Manning Monday, or hashtag just another Manning Monday, on Instagram, which I believe is the brainchild of the Stitch Haven by Allie. And she's super motivating and just really excited to have people join in. And I don't think I've seen anyone using the hashtag that are doing the same piece. There's so many beautiful Carolyn Manning pieces. We're back. Obviously the children are back. One of them is in school, and little one is going to start preschool after Labor Day. 2 mornings a week. It's going to be great. So that's why I'm on Jade Vine. So this is a page edge, but then obviously it's a longer page. So, and the pattern repeats. So usually, these two are the same, these two are the same, these two are the same. And so while I have the floss out, I'll try and do a couple diamonds in the same kind of floss and then switch. And the border is my favorite DMC 550. Can't beat it. So again, 18 count, 2 strands, full cross. Really, really, really enjoying it. It's all my favorite colors in one place. It's amazing. It is really fun to stitch. And my mom likes it because it looks like a quilt. So if you have a Carolyn Manning, maybe you haven't gotten out in a while and you're thinking, oh, maybe check out the Manning Monday hashtag, because it's been a really supportive group of people and I've really enjoyed it. So starting that and just falling for it, just falling in love with it. That's the only thing I wanted to work on. That really cured the startitis for a while, because I had that one and I had another one that I knew I was coming, because in early August, I met up with Miriam from Murumi Crafts and Nithya from Daybreak Stitchery and Julie from Julie and Stitches. And we had our own mini retreat in Davenport, Iowa. My parents had the girls for a week, and so I was going to have to go get them. And we'd all talked about getting together in the Quad Cities, so Davenport and Bettendorf, Iowa, Moline and Rock Island, Illinois, on the other side of the Mississippi are known as the Quad Cities. 4 of us, Quad Cities. It's about equidistant from Julie in Wisconsin, Nithya and Miriam in Chicago, and me in Central Iowa. And so we decided we would meet, and we just rented an Airbnb house for one night, and we all brought food. And Miriam is actually the one that said, why don't we make it a mini retreat and have a brag table and have a freebie table? We can clear out our stashes if there's something we don't want, see if anybody else wants to take it. We can do table gifts, among everybody, and just really make it a retreat experience. And she goes, I'll design an exclusive pattern for it. I mean, first of all, I felt a little bit like a slacker because I did not design anything for the retreat. But I was very happy that Miriam did because, of course, what she did was amazing because it's Miriam. But this was our exclusive pattern. It's called Birds of a Feather. And it was inspired by Julie's love of birds, if you've watched her channel, which you should. Lots of backyard birding updates. And Nithya's sunflowers and my garden. And then Miriam in the middle put birds of a feather flock together, and then a similar saying in Farsi. We found versions or similar versions of that phrase in like 30 different languages, I think, when we Googled it. Okay, hang on just a second. And the Farsi version translates to pigeons stick together, hawks stick to other hawks, birds of a feather fly together. So I knew I was going to have this new start coming as well because I wanted to start it at the retreat. So the only change, I'm doing called for colors except for, of course, it's a low battery too, and my child is hungry. Except for the birds are all going to be in different combinations of colors because we all talked, when we were chatting before we got there, someone asked what everybody's favorite colors were and like in DMC or DMC equivalents of the colors. And so I am going to stitch each one in one of our sets of favorite colors of DMC. So that was my start at the retreat. And I didn't get very far. Hang on, I'm gonna go feed a 3-year-old. Okay, here we go. This is my start. This is my start on Birds of a Feather. I'm pretty sure that's what we were talking about. So an upper right-hand corner start for me. And so I've gotten kind of the outline of one of the sunflowers in, and I'm kind of working away, and this will be the start to the border for the center. And it's so pretty. It was so fun to stitch. It was so nice to be in that group, and I will continue waxing poetically about them after I give the information for the fabric before I forget. This is 36 Count Lotus by Be Stitch Me, which is also a nod to the Quad Cities because Be Stitch Me is in Moline. And it's really interesting to see all of our different kind of fabric choices and takes on the colors. Nithya's is spectacular. I was just watching her newest video this morning, and I haven't gotten all the way through, but she has shown hers, and it's this beautiful yellow fabric and these bright colors for the flowers, and it's just stunning. So mostly called for DMC so far. The only change will be on the birds and on Be Stitch Me Lotus, which is gorgeous. I had this kitted up for a blue flower winter pattern that I'm hoping to start this winter, but there's plenty. So why not share the love with Birds of a Feather? So this retreat, it was the happiest 20 hours of my whole summer for sure. Perhaps of my year. It was exactly what I needed. It was a chance to recharge and just be around like-minded people that shared not only the love of stitching, but the eye for color, the creativity, the appreciation of our art. We watch a lot of the same Flosstubers. We interact with a lot of the same people on Instagram. And even though I'd never met Julie or Miriam in person before that, it didn't feel like that at all. It was like, friends that had been friends for decades getting together for coffee like it happened every day. And it was so amazing. I know Julie did a recap in her video a week or two ago. Nithya's video just went up last weekend, and I'm sure Miriam is going to do one soon because she has a new pattern that just came out, which you will see later in the haul section. So we were encouraged to bring things from stash as gifts, and I'm not sure any of us actually held to that 100%. Because I got a lot of stuff in front of me. And I don't have everything, but I do want to show off some of the amazingness that these women shared because they are all tremendous people and artists. So, and everyone did floss drops except for me. No one got floss drops from me, but I got some. So Nithya, first of all, gave us all a collection of flosses that the names kind of harkened to either places we were from or something that reminded her of us. So things like Storm Lake Surprise. Storm Lake is a city in Iowa. Purple Aster for gardeners. Macaroni and Cheese. River Rocks. Green Onion. Prairie Grass. I mean, everywhere. And so that was super thoughtful. And then we were all like, oh, these are really nice, pretty bobbins on there. And she goes, oh, I painted those. Just painted those. And she didn't even show them on her channel. She didn't show them on her video. Nithya, show off your artwork. I mean, look at that. Oh, it's just, I'm floored. I am floored. Absolutely floored. Like my floss will never be as well decked out as it's going to be after this, after I show you this. So that was from Nithya. I picked this up from her, from the freebie table. This is called Stitching with Friends. The only thing better than stitching is stitching with friends, which is true, from Little Stitch Girl. And Nithya shows her finish of this on her video from last weekend. She did it on a dark fabric with some variegated Cosmo threads. Oh, it's fabulous. So I'm looking forward to that one. And I've never had a Little Stitch Girl pattern, and it's printed on really like good heavy cardstock and printed in color. It's really nice. So I'm always a little curious to see how other people print their stuff. So it's also a little bit of research. So from Julie, dear Julie, my goodness, I can't even. First, look at the doggos. Look at the puppies. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the dogs' names. But they're so cute. So cute. And then we had these amazing woodcut sunflower themed floss drops with the bling. Beautiful. Look at the seed packet one. Nithya pointed this out as well. Sunflower seed packet. I believe this is from the folks that did the merch for Just Keep Stitching for Pam and Steph's channel. And I want to say it's Pam and Bob, like P&B Creations something. I will try to look it up and put it in the description box below. I believe that's who Julie said she used. But they are beautiful. And then there was a needle minder, of course, for the Quad City needle minders. So I need to put this on my Birds of a Feather piece because I was using a different one. And then I think this is from Julie. I honestly can't quite remember, but it's a cottage garden thread called Peacock. So that was coming home with me, of course. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And then she made us all needle books with a needle. It's so cute. I'm trying to design a needle book right now, and I haven't quite figured out the whole finishing aspect, and so I'm always fascinated to see how people do needle books. And I know this isn't a stitch piece into a needle book, but still just the general mechanics of it. And you know, I mean, she's a pretty beginner at sewing, and it's amazing. She did so good. And then we had a little notions pouch. And I wanted to show what was inside here because she gave us some pony black needles, and my needle workshop owner was just raving about these. She used the needles that just stopped being made. Was it Pat's needles that just stopped being made? And she said that these were the best replacement for those that she'd found. I don't really have a needle preference. I kind of use whatever I can find that's not bent or broken. Sometimes even if they're bent, I'll still use them. So I'm really excited to try these out. But my needle workshop owner was raving about the pony needles. So, and every time I watch Julie, I think I should go check out Night Stalker's Calling floss, but I haven't yet because it is not in my budget to go finding new amazing things. But now I have some Night Stalker's Calling floss. I have Embers and Fragile Ego, which how wonderful is that name? So now I have some Night Stalker's Calling. So thank you, Julie. And then we had all, like I said, given our 2 favorite colors, and I think maybe this is from Miriam, got us all of our colors in DMC. But in case you were wondering what my 2 were, I picked 550 and 964, which is a kind of a seafoamy blue-green. So always variable, but this is the current one, but it's always 550 with something usually. So I think those were from Miriam. And then she did floss drops with her fancy logo. Look at that phoenix. And also a little needle minder that looks like a button. It's so cute. They're just so cute. And then she made us thread beds. So I've always been kind of fascinated by thread beds. I always feel like, oh, that's something that would really be helpful for me. That's something I should have around. And I've never gotten around to trying to make one, or, let's be honest, asking my mom to make me some. And now, look what Miriam made. So it's got the felt inside, so you can lay your threads down and they're not going to go anywhere. And you can close it up and take it with you. Thank you. I can't wait. I can't wait to use these. So it was wonderful. And Nithya in her video, okay, was talking about, did I tell little one that she should go potty before I started filming? Yes, I did. Nithya was talking about how, you never know, connecting with people, reaching out to people is not second nature to her, nor is it to me. I think most of us would describe ourselves as introverts. But, leave a comment on someone's video. If you see someone stitching something on Instagram that you really like, comment on it, suggest a Sal, or ask a question, or just, you never know where little connections are going to lead. And I'm just so thankful that however we got here, that we're here. And so thank you to all 3 of them. If you have people that are in a general area, where you can meet halfway or do something, it is fun to go to big retreats and, get exciting things and meet new people, but it's also really fun to have your own mini retreat. So I would highly recommend it because my stitching cup was just overflowing for weeks. And then it seems like we all kind of went back to the real world. Nithya is a high school teacher. She went back to school. And I came back into some busy times on the farm, which I will get into. And so it was having that retreat, and that even though it was, 20 hours, it really helped refuel me and just kind of carry me through what the rest of August turned into. So thank you to all 3 of you ladies for being you and being amazing. So other Stitchy Kindness, more from Nithya, because when she came through with her husband in July, she brought me some things. First, she crocheted these little hearts for my kiddos, which are just so sweet and adorable. They're so cute. So I haven't given them to them yet because I was holding them for this, but now they will get them. And she gave me some amazing flosses and also some quirky Quakers. So we have moose and snail and squirrel. I feel like I should put moose and squirrel together. Moose and squirrel and snail. So I'm excited to look through some of the flosses she gave me and pick out some colors for these, because they are really fun to stitch, and they're just, sometimes you need a quick win, and these are amazing for that. So thank you again, Nithya. Okay, that little break from my daughter reminded me that I was going to insert some photos from the retreat. Miriam and Nithya brought their pansy bloom patterns that were in progress. I took the models from my needle workshop with me. As I said, the pansy and marigold had some friends to meet. And so that was lovely. I took my Song of Nowruz finish. That's one of Miriam's designs. And we just had the best time. It was so nice to see all the things in person rather than on a screen. So hopefully those have been playing. And now back to Stitchy Kindness, because there's more. There's more. Diana, it is Kismet on Instagram, does hashtag Christmas in July, where it's Christmas stitching, but in July, and it's, I believe her birthday is between Christmas and New Year's, when there's a lot of other things happening. People are either trying to finish up stitching goals or figuring out ones for the new year, and you just don't, she doesn't quite get that celebration really that she deserves. And so she does Christmas in July, stitching Christmas patterns, but also like celebrating her birthday by giving things away to other people, which is incredible. And so I commented on a pattern that she showed on Instagram, and she said, I'll send it to you. And I was like, that's amazing. So this is the one that I commented on. This is called St. Nicholas by Tralala, or Collection Tralala. And I just love this shape of it. Obviously I really like arch shape finishes and patterns, but I just thought it was so cute. I love a blue coat. I love the vines over the top. So just, it's one I hadn't seen before, and it was just really interesting to me. And it's one Christmas pattern I probably won't be able to put on blue because I really like his blue coat. So I might actually have to stick to more of a called for look. So she sent that and a Christmas thread bed. I went from, oh, it would be nice to have a thread bed or a needle book, and now I have 2 thread beds and a needle book this month. I mean, thank you. Thank you. The stitching community, thank you. There's a little magnet in here. And threads. Place for threads. So I'm going to use this for a plan that's coming up that is non-Christmas related, but it's going to come in handy. So that is my Stitchy Kindness. Just thank you to everyone for physical things, to everyone for comments, for likes, for subscribing, for sharing about my channel, for cheering me on my Instagram posts, whether it's the Long Dog page finish or a Manning Monday update. Just thank you. Thank you for connecting with me. Thank you for helping me feel part of a community, even when things elsewhere in my life are very insulated. I really appreciate it. So we will go from, let me double check my notes. Yes, I think that's everything for now. I do have a couple stitchy investments. I find that buying patterns and materials kind of goes in waves for me, much like wanting to start all the things. That might be related. I get a bunch of things and then I want to start all the things. But I told my needle workshop owner to save me a copy of this book when it came out. So this is Between Friends Summer. There's also been a spring one out that I have not added to my stash, but I really wanted the summer one. This is a collaboration between Hands On Design and Summer House Stitch Works. And there's quite a few really nice patterns in here. There's not a pattern. It's not showing the actual pattern. It's finishing instructions. I really like this pillow. It says, plant a garden, chase a cloud, watch the sun, laugh out loud. And Rhonda at Crisscross thought they put it on the orange to mimic like a terracotta pot. We both agreed that we would probably stitch it on a different color, but I do really like it. But what really, I like the pin cushion too. This little pie or pin cushion thing. That's really cute too. But what I really wanted the book for, let's see if I can find a page that has the pictures without the patterns. No, we'll go off the back. There's these two that look like seed packets. I think carrots and radishes. And those were just really cute to me. Those are really cute. And this one too, it says, plant a garden, start with a seed, sun and rain is all you need. Just really, really nice kind of garden themed stuff. And it came out before the point in the year where I was really sick of gardening. I'm never sick of stitching about gardening, so this will be good all year round. But just a really nice collection of things. So I might have to go back and look at the spring one at some point, but I'm curious to see. I assume they'll be doing the other seasons, and so that'll be fun to see what comes out of that. So Between Friends, summer edition. This I must have bought when I was in the shop with Nithya. This is Abby Rose Designs Primitive Merry Christmas Pillow, and I've seen this on a couple different channels. I've seen different people stitching this. I'm probably going to put it on blue, but just something about it that I really like. I love the text. I love the simple leaves and berries, but they still have some dimension and some detail to them. And I really like the rusty bell on the finishing. So I picked that up. And then I bought a couple of patterns off of Etsy. I've had my first Christmas gift request. Tis the season, I guess. My sister-in-law is a university lecturer, and she wanted to have something to just have with her, either in her office for kids to see, or have with her, whether it was like a coffee cup she could put down or something that has a quote from Ted Lasso, the TV show, be curious, not judgmental. And so she was hoping I could stitch her something with that on it, and we were looking through patterns on Etsy, and we couldn't really find anything that was what she was looking for. And so I said, I'll design something for you. I'll figure something out. But while we were looking, I found this one, and so I'm going to be stitching two things for her because this one has to be on the back side. So it'll be curious, not judgmental, probably on the front of a flat fold maybe, and then this one will be on the back. And I almost wish that I hadn't shown it to her because I think it would really delight her as a surprise. But it was so funny. I started laughing so hard, and she was right there because we were looking at patterns together. So I couldn't hide it. Language warning, because we were talking about Roy Kent from Ted Lasso. And if any of you are familiar, you know there's going to be an F-bomb involved. But it's a Venn diagram chart, and he's here, he's there, he's every effing where, Roy Kent in the middle. I laugh every time I look at it. It makes me so happy. It's like it combines the love of Ted Lasso with the nerdiness of a good chart. I love a Venn diagram. I can't wait. And so I think because it's really, primary colors and the secondary just bold, straight stitching, I think I'm going to do them in a toile just to give it a little bit of sparkle for her. I cannot wait. This is from ABIT Stitch on Etsy, and I believe it was a charity pattern. I think all proceeds went to two different charitable organizations. So that was one. And then Stitchy Princess on Etsy, or Stitchy Princess Black on Instagram, everything linked below, had a new release. And she is a Ukrainian designer who is continuing to live in Ukraine and provide us updates on the situation there throughout the war. And I hadn't gotten anything from her in a while, and she had this new release, and it felt like a really good time to support her. And so I would encourage you, if you are able, to consider that as well. This is pumpkin season. Look at the pumpkins. And I love a white pumpkin. Love a white pumpkin. So I'm thinking maybe a dark fabric and some white pumpkins. But it's so cute. patterns are just really fun. They're just really fun. So that's Stitchy Princess on Etsy, and Pumpkin Season is the new one. And then yesterday, Miriam at Murumi Designs released the Bevaz sampler. Look at this thing. I got to see this model in progress in person in Davenport, and it was spectacular. So this is a companion to her Afshan sampler, which was more of a botanical theme, and it's the exact same size. And I haven't gotten that one yet because I can't decide what colors I want to use, but I couldn't wait to get this one. Is it Bevaz? Bevaz translates to bat. Look at that bat. Isn't that stunning? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So her first one, the companion piece was botanicals. This is critters. And so there's like unicorns in there. And there's critters up here. And birds. I mean, it's so good. Her band samplers are amazing. And coming from someone who does not really design borders well, this blows my mind. Absolutely incredible. Could not get it fast enough. Didn't even add it to cart. Just buy it now. Love it. Love it. So, Murumi Designs is now on Etsy. She used to be Gumroad. She's now available on Etsy. So hopefully more people can find her, and all the wonderful things can happen. So this, she was trying to get a hold ahead of Sampler September. So if anyone's looking for a Sampler September piece, a Black Sampler November piece, there you go. Perfect. Perfect for that. Okay, plans. I have one plan. So as I'm going to talk about in the farm section, I'm a farmer in Central Iowa. I didn't put that in my intro, so if you're new here, hello, welcome, hi. If you are coming back, bless you. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. After I got back from the retreat, it was not panic time, but very focused work mode on the farm because we hosted two different farm tours the past 2 weekends. And so people coming to the farm, touring, looking at the animals, looking at conservation practices, learning about natural resources, how we do things on our farm, asking questions. And then the first one we hosted a lunch afterwards, and the one last weekend we hosted just kind of light refreshments, but it's a lot of work. And my mother-in-law really had a lot of things she wanted done around her house because that was kind of the staging ground, or that was where we ended up for refreshments, was in front of her house. And so weeding and weed whacking and mowing and repainting and things, plus cleaning up and just making everything look nice, getting rid of random piles of things that could be hazards. It's just when you have 40 or 50 people walking around the farm, there's just things that you try to anticipate, and you want to put your best foot forward, but also take away obstacles, or make it as easy as possible for people to get around. And so that was a lot of work. There was a lot of preparation. It was a lot of stress, but we love being able to share the farm with people. And I really love watching people learn and get to interact. And the first group was fellow farmers. It was a grazing focused group. And so their questions were different than the second group, which was media members, chefs, grocery people, a lot of people associated with Nyman Ranch, which is where most of our pigs are sold. And so it was fascinating. I love giving tours, even if getting ready for tours is stressful. So we had that. We had the weekend between the two tours was in the upper 90s Fahrenheit for temperatures. We had one day hit 100. It was the day my daughter started 4th grade. So she had early outs that whole week, getting ready for that, doing the Meet the Teacher night for my daughter who's going to start preschool. It was just a lot. It was a lot. It was so much. And then yesterday was kind of the last thing at the end of that stretch was the preschool teacher home visit. So the teacher and the classroom aide came to our house and got to meet with my daughter kind of in her natural habitat, so to speak, you know, which I think is a really nice thing that they do. We were able to ask questions. They were able to learn about a little more about her in a one-on-one setting. I love that they do that. I didn't love cleaning my house after 2 weeks of farm tour stuff, but we made it. And so I said to myself, when you get through this stretch of weeks in August, you're going to reward yourself by filming Flosstube, check, and you are going to get ready to start A Tisket a Tasket by Rosewood Manor. This is the other piece that was really calling to me to be started end of July, early August, and the Carolyn Manning piece kind of pushed it off. But I had all of my flosses converted except for one. Nithya helped me when we were at Crisscross in July figure out the last piece of the puzzle. And so then it was like, well, why would I not start this? I have it all ready to go finally. And then I heard about New Hampshire Stitcher is doing a BAP to School SAL. So that's BAP to School SAL. BAP meaning, more language today, a big ass project. So we're getting kids off to school, we're transitioning seasons, we are moving through the year, and it's just a good time to start a big old project that's been calling to you. And this one has been calling to me. So the official start date is September 1st or before. So that's kind of my target. I will probably start it a day or two before. It depends on when I finish my full coverage goal. I also have a couple models in progress that I really need to get focused on because they are fall models. So depending on how all that goes, September 1st-ish, I'm going to start A Tisket a Tasket. For those that may not have seen, I think I talked about this at one point in a previous video, but I'm going to use Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie, 36 count, of course. And I've converted it to purples instead of blues and grays. Mostly Be Stitch Me, and then there's one Classic Colorworks, which was kind of that one shade that I couldn't quite find the conversion for. So I'm going to get those on some of my fancy new floss tags, and I'm going to use the Diana thread bed to try and preload needles with all the different colors. I'm usually a one needle at a time stitcher, so I load one color, stitch as much as I can in that color or until the floss runs out, and then move to the next one. But with this pattern, there's so many different gradients in each little piece, I've heard from people that are stitching it already, it's just a lot of color changes, and it's going to look great when it's done. It's just fiddly if you're stopping and starting colors all the time. And so my thought was, if I have a thread bed, I could label the needles with the symbol and just have them loaded and ready to go, and see if that helps progress a little faster, because I'm a slow stitcher, and anything that makes things faster and easier, yes please. So that's my big plan coming up. So next time I will have a BAP to School SAL update, and I'm really excited to see how it goes. So for the farm feature today, as I mentioned, we did 2 farm tours in August, and they were both focused on the pigs. The grazing one, we did go and see the steers as well, the cows that were on pasture, but mostly around pigs. And so I have a couple pictures from that tour. One is the sows, so the pregnant mama pigs. They are in a pasture that's up on a hillside and has a big mud wallow on it. So they have shelter. If there's any sort of breeze, they'll catch it on the top of that hill. And there's a mud wallow that they really enjoy. And so that's the mama pigs, as comfortable as we can get them on the top of the hill is the picture. And then there's a video of them eating extra cucumbers out of the garden. I'm notorious for forgetting about my cucumbers. And so sometimes they just get too big because vegetables like to grow. The same with zucchini, but I can finagle the zucchini and do a couple different things. Cucumbers get to be a bit of a lost cause for me. So the video is just, make sure you have your sound on, is just the pigs crunching happily, happy as can be with their gift of extra cucumbers from the garden. So that's a little bit of a farm feature for today, and then I will see you at the end for a wrap up. So. Okay, I think that's everything. The only thing I've left is my up next, and I just found this channel yesterday. It is Allie Z, A-L-L-I, and the initial Z. On Instagram, she is Allie Z is Crafty. She has 2 videos up so far, and yesterday I watched the first video, which was her whip parade, and it was so fun. She just seems like a really good human, as Julie would say. She has a wide variety of projects, some amazing fabric and color choices, and just a real, nice vibe about her. So I hope that she puts out more soon. I'm going to watch her second video as soon as I can. And I was proud to be her 300th subscriber. So always nice to have a nice round number there. So check out Allie. Everybody else I talked about is down below. All the hashtags, all the things. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming back after a bit of a long absence. I did want to mention my flowers. The garden is still going. It is wild, it is out of control, but I'm hoping I can get back to it now that the weather isn't 100 degrees and that maybe the kids will be in school shortly. So with that, the toddler is here, the camera is dying. That's all I have. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, subscribe, please leave a comment. Let me know you made it to the end. Put a cow or a sunflower emoji or something in the bottom. And I will see you next time. Until then, do what you can when you can, and thank you for being a part of refilling my Stitchy cup this week when I really needed it. So